The Walmart in My Town Isn't Abandoned by Caldor 23. I live in a small town. Knowing what everybody knows about Walmart and their presence around the country, you would expect them to plant a super Walmart between the 3 small towns in the area and drive all the local businesses out of, well, business. Once all the local stores were gone, everybody works at the super Walmart and they won, correct? Well, the 3 small towns banded together in a show of unprecedented solidarity, and the super Walmart became a profit black hole. The local contractors made money, sure, but the Walmart sure didn't. A few weeks ago, I would have called this a victory for the mom and pops in the 3 towns. After last night, I'm not so sure. It all started when the Walmart finally went out of business. When they announced that they were shutting down, my buddy Tom got this, at the time, awesome idea. "Do you want to go and explore the old Walmart?" he said. He knew the amount of PUBG I played and how much I would have loved to explore an abandoned town. With a super Walmart being almost as big as a town, how could I say no? A week later, Tom grabbed the GoPro he'd never used and I grabbed the lockpicking kit that I'd never used, and we set out to explore the abandoned Walmart. We decided the best way to approach was to park at a bar about a mile down the street and walk the mile to the Walmart. This decision probably saved both of our lives for the immediate future. The first thing that we noticed were the black SUVs driving away from the Walmart. "Do you see the MIBs driving down the road?" Tom asked. We laid down in the ditch as the small line of SUVs drove by. "Something's weird," I said. Tom picked it up before I did. "They don't have their headlights on." They didn't. I'm surprised that I didn't notice it before. If they weren't just 100 feet from the road, we probably wouldn't have noticed them either. They are making, no noise. They were so quiet. They must have been electric. The last of the SUVs drove off into the distance, and we waited 5 minutes before getting out of the ditch and heading towards the Walmart again. When we could see the darkened Walmart in the distance is when the second weird thing happened. Tom's GoPro stopped working. The little light indicating that it was on shut off, and nothing we did would turn it back on. At the time, we didn't think much of it, but I'm not a complete idiot, and I know it had something to do with what we found there, what may still be there. But like I said, we didn't think much of it and continued on to the abandoned Walmart. Except, it wasn't abandoned. It was faint at first, but as we got closer, it was clear that there was light inside the building. It wasn't every light or even close to it, but there was definitely a light somewhere inside. Tom wanted to go inside. I didn't. Tom was an idiot and walked towards the back loading dock. I was an idiot and I followed him. Turns out we didn't have to fail to use my lockpick, as the loading docks weren't locked and opened at his pull. The dock was empty and devoid of anything. No shelving, no gigantic cardboard compactor. The floor was even swept. "This is even creepier than if they had left stuff behind," Tom remarked. The light we had seen from the outside was creeping in from the main part of the store. "Look, dude, obviously." I tried to say, but Tom was already heading towards the double doors to the main room. The image of him poking his ducked head barely above the lip of the little plastic window did make me giggle a little bit. It reminded me of a little kid pulling himself up to a tall window. The look on his face, however, did not show amusement. It was gray and ashen, like he had seen a ghost. "You need to look at this so I know that I'm not crazy," he said, looking out the little window. I don't know exactly why I decided to look. Probably the same reason I didn't leave when the GoPro stopped working, or when we saw the lights coming from the inside, or when Tom opened the bay door. Tom moved over to the next window, and I looked through it. Right in the middle of the store, where the clothes would be, stood a bank of hospital beds. Unfortunately, the double doors we stood behind led to the electronics section, and the beds were close enough for us to see. Close enough for us to see the children. All of them lay still in the hospital beds. Connected to each child was an IV leading to a machine with 2 spinning discs sitting next to each bed. The IVs were red. Stupidity couldn't hold me there any longer, and I grabbed Tom. "We need to get out of here," I whispered to him. He stood transfixed, staring at the small children in their big beds. I grabbed Tom, and he came willingly, probably in shock, and we exited through the bay door again. As we started jumping over the back wall of the loading area, I was blinded with white light. A voice of authority came from the direction of the flashlight.
Stop!
I looked at Tom, who had already jumped over the wall. He was already running. I decided to make the only good decision of the night, and I ignored the voice. I finished jumping over the concrete wall, and I ran. We didn't stop running, and they didn't yell at us to. We ran into the night and didn't stop until we got back to the packed bar. We found Tom's car, and we drove home. Actually, that's incorrect. The first place we went was to the local police station. The only thing that happened when we tried to tell them about the black vans and the kids was a sobriety test. With the GoPro permanently fried, we had no evidence to back up anything that we said. I don't know what to do. Tom doesn't know what to do. I've been thinking about keeping this last part out of what happened. Typing it will either mean very little or it might get me disappeared. I didn't go completely blind when the flashlight hit my face. My vision faded just long enough for me to see the ICE insignia on the front of the Voice of Authority's bulletproof jacket.